The Presque Isle City Council meeting for Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020.
States of America. Justice for all.
Again, thanks for everybody for coming this evening. We have a medium to long agenda tonight, but it will move very smoothly. The first item, I'd like to open this public hearing to discuss 3 items. The first item was advertised in the local papers on November 25th, and that's our 2021 budget. And first of all, Tom, our city clerk, did we get any written comments received?
I have received none.
Yes, sir. So no written comments. Is there anybody from the public who would like to comment on our public hearing now? Comments? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing for comments and move to the second public hearing, and that's to consider adopting changes to the Presque Isle Development Fund by. And I think Gail would.
Yeah, Council, we did do an overview of these. We discussed last time. I thought Galen did an excellent job with the why, so why we're looking to do this. We do have the city has after a few decades that we've been using for local businesses. Public use for business in Presque Isle. Proposed
Sure. The changes, we are essentially creating 3 new programs. That is the Red Roof through fame of but it's 3 new, also known as WARM. We have the new microfinancing loan program that we're facade program. We just added a request for a money transfer tonight. The downtown TIF is established, available, and the council approves to put that into an account. That's when that would take. Let's put it up now. So
How the facade
right. So the facade program as we'll create an educational component with the assessor. Listed properties that's been approved by the planning board, city council. Happens, we're going to have an open enrollment down the road, and then there's a you can apply. You have to match 50%. 200,000, another 100,000 for a $200,000 total, or the standards of what the historical. There is a match bonus to match only 25%, not 50%.
So if you make it look like effective, then it's there's.
I think it's going to be a good collaboration piece with the Historical Society. Boards are going to start doing once this is approved. They'll come up with the guidelines for that piece. Again, we're not hindering folks to express their facade. They'll do that under our program.
Misunderstandings too about this being funded. This is like a kind of a right?
It is a 20-year no payment, no interest loan. After 20 years, it will expire, so they wouldn't we need a secondary mortgage on it. Most of the downtown businesses, though, don't stay in hands over 20 years, so we'd probably recoup some of that money back. The matching, I think that we need that their own capital, it's not just 100% here you go. We're going to get all that.
The idea is to encourage beautification of.
Yep, and increase the property value. It's more desirable to start down there. So, yeah.
This is, I refer to this stuff as tools in the toolbox. This is what we need, I think, to drive economic activity. The alternative is to stay the way we are.
Yep.
And we're going to the planning board and check this out. We're driving in a positive direction. So thank you so much for pushing this. Right, to make this happen.
Yep. If you have any other questions about any of the programs, let me know. Conversations with New Ventures Maine for doing the educational piece in the microfinancing program is a lot my loan program than what was previously done in the past. So we're looking forward to that.
Questions for Galen or Martin?
I think it's a great thing, and my other hat on Presque Isle Historical Society, being the president, to work with you. Excited to have you give some input, because there are some very beautiful facade pieces on Main Street that haven't have the money, but if availability of funding, then we lose that architecture. So that's great.
Another constituent was would folks in the city be allowed to qualify for these programs? They are not allowed. No city council, as long as they're in the PIDF fund, which that's what we're doing. Council.
Right.
Yep.
Any other comments? Entertain a motion then.
Ordinance change.
It's been moved by Jeff and seconded by Jake. Is there any further comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? That's 6-0. Thank you very much. Next item of business is to, again in a public hearing format, to approve taxi cab license to Jeff Nichols doing business as Jeff's Taxi. So, Mr. City Manager, I think everything seems to be in order. Do you see anything else?
Nope, the application has been filled out and includes everything that we need, so we recommend approval.
Jeff made the opportunity to be here tonight. Jeff, if you'd like to come on in and introduce yourself, you're welcome to come on up. Relax, this is an easy thing. But first of all, I'd like to say thank you for your service in our city and for offering your service here. It's another business.
I've been a couple of years. Actually got our start up here in 2017. Town, I got him doing it, and we'd run. And so we trained a lot of people, and a few extra ones in town. Some are doing Lyft. We got Ron McCardle, 21 years old. He does Lyft. We got a few other ones that are doing it. People love the service. So I want to try to do the taxi too. So I love transportation, all that stuff. Everybody knows me, so they call me anyway. But it's non-stop. So.
actually, Jeff is worked over the course of the year with the Uber, instrumental in the airlines and some other things. Been there throughout that entire time since the pandemic began. Our regular taxi services, many of them did not come to the airport for several months on end and would not serve the public, and there was several times that actually we had to find people at the last minute to get people that when they flew into the airport, as you know, they used to come in at 11 o'clock at night, and they would sit there and say, well, you know, the airport closes in an hour, where do I go next, because I have no ride. Jeff filled that niche, and he helped to make sure those people got all over Aroostook County, sometimes to Madawaska, sometimes to Fort Kent, weren't left standing at the airport. I'm excited to see him expanding to be a full-fledged taxi, and
You're welcome. Thank you.
Jake? No. Okay. See no other comments, then I'll recommend we authorize this, so make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, we approve a taxi cab Nichols doing business as Jeff's Taxi contingent upon his service vehicle passing the process and providing that documentation to the city clerk's office in order for the actual license to be issued.
Craig, and seconded by Jeff. Is there any further comments or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval? All 6-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you guys around. Yep. Next item of business is citizen comments. This is an opportunity for people to address the Prescott City Council on any issues that they have in front of them. If there's like a comment on anything, now's your chance. So we'll open it up to citizen comments right now. And seeing none, we'll close the period. We'll go back to our consent agenda. Item 4 on our agenda is approved minutes from November 4th, 5th, and 18th. Had a busy month last month, meeting 3 different times. And I'd recommend approval as all one motion to approve the 2020 warrant. 6 totaling $4,994.44. And lastly, to approve the return of votes cast election dated November 3rd, 2020.
I just got a quick question for Brad. Warrant number 4, that's a big, that was a lot. Is that the school unit?
Yeah, there's a school payment in there. The airport construction that we get reimbursed for.
Okay.
Line there, just seems like on Mark 44, 300,000.
Yeah, that was the payment for the work that is having done, so it's our, through our records, reimbursed with the FAA. That's definitely one that was out of line from the usual, that's 81.
Same as last year, same timeline.
No, because this is the, that's the attack, this is the attack.
Excellent catch, Council, thank you. Any other questions on the? Is there anybody who would like to comments? Thank you. 6-0. Thank you again. Moving right along, the opportunity for discuss where we several times in the past we're asking for an update on the City Hall reconstruction project tonight. And, I'll start with the chairman, Mr. Michael Jassy.
I was going to ask Louis.
Absolutely defer to Louis.
Yeah. Louis has been the staff person that's really
council, yes, Louis Cousins. I did put a spreadsheet there in front of you a little bit. I have a basic timeline of where we started, 8/3/19. You told us to move forward with an initial budget. 6/24/20, we opened and accepted a bid from Aviest Engineering. 9/26/20, we sent an application and an initial plan to the fire marshal's office. Construction permit for approval for barrier-free and the construction. We've gotten a couple of bills from Aviest Engineering. The next thing, get final construction plans next week, and advertise for bidding on January 2nd.
So just to recap where things have gone, second floor renovation, with council chambers, get rid of the exterior, into an interior second, well, that would be at the end of this hall. Solution to get everything inside and do it less expensively, we think. Gonna consolidate everyone down into the bottom two floors. I think it's going pretty well.
Yeah.
One other thing too, from the standpoint of funding, we've got $532,387. Some was from yearly budgeted amounts for maintenance at City Hall. Some was from the Solid Works Reserve. Money was made available through the merger of Tri-Communities. And then recently we were able to transfer $250,000 from this year. So we're able to accumulate money without impact to the taxpayers.
And Mike is right, 530, when the 2020 budget is approved, is our number. We're still working on between 450 and 550,000, so we're right in there, very close. So. Short, we can eliminate as we can do, I think we hope to do, but we have that way. Yeah. Floors, dress up the first floor lobby area quite nicely, and then make the just clean and neat and modern. So.
Any other questions or comments? Lewis's tonight? I think we've come exactly where we wanted to be right now as far as a planning, a working document. Take it through step by step. Don't rush it. Consult with qualified people, and hats off to you guys. I know it's not you and Lewis. I know Tom, you're on this thing. Many other people, like 5, 6 other. Yeah, Doug's on.
Doug,
Yeah.
Mike, yeah.
Doug's not able to be here this evening.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd like to be here this evening and comment on this and stuff. But I work real hard on this too with you guys. So
Final construction plans, is there from what we've seen so far, anticipate on 12/15? We already had it.
So what we have are all the space get cut out and placed in. What he's working on are more the details, like the countertop heights and the widths of the openings and the countertop,
Okay,
and whether it's
yeah.
glass or those things. That'll give contractors some good ideas of what it is they're looking at. And we're gonna be asking for. You mentioned the committee and have worked wonderfully together. There's no questions. All of us.
I think one thing, Lou, is at some point I'd like to see something posted in a poster on the wall down the floor plans. Building. Maybe we're not at that step yet. Maybe we're there in January. At some point, I'd like to see some sort of drawings or blueprints. I'm curious, and I trust the people that are in the working group. But beyond us, and if you want to say, hey, what are they doing? We're spending this much money, what's going to happen? At least I'll have the opportunity to see some
We'll make sure.
maybe that'll be January or maybe it's sooner, so.
I think those final ones are gonna be the ones to post, and maybe we'll set up an easel down there and.
Yeah, let's set up small space and make it, and be transparent, right? Yeah, excellent. Again, guys, I asked for the opportunity. We don't need them every 30 days, but I do appreciate you the other month, so I know. My staff, and congratulations on the work you've done so far. Basically, we're going to do this now, and we have the opportunity to discuss our annual report. Every year, we dedicate the Presque Isle City annual report. Opportunity to do so this evening, so I'll turn it over to Martin.
Sure. Council, this individual this year, the council has discussed this individual work in terms of recreation, and really does items to increase the level of transparency within the city, within their work. I know we've tracked at least easily $30,000 with one project that this individual has saved taxpayers of Presque Isle, just with one project, multiple projects this individual's worked on. This individual and one is in excess of $100,000 because of the technology that he used. So would like to have Chinzing Wong please step forward to be recognized as the 2020 annual report dedication.
Good morning, ladies.
I only misled you a little bit because otherwise I knew you would not come.
Come on.
Wow, what an honor.
Congratulations, and thank you so much for everything you've done.
Thank you.
I know most of you. Some of you are my longtime friends. Not this one. This man is a good mechanic. I used to go to the
Wow. Stand right there and
Right here?
We'll get a shot.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, great. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Many of you are my friends.
Dr. Lang, if you don't mind, if you want to stand for a second.
Okay.
There are so many things that we could say tonight that for the city CIS to helping trail ATD stuff, GPS stuff. You have been an inspiration and a resource for people to follow what that you do, and notwithstanding all the stuff that you do for COVID, for keeping us all up to date. My hat's off to you, sir. Thank you. And this is just a token of our appreciation, and I couldn't think of a better individual to dedicate our annual report to than you. And I'd love to hear. I know we surprised you.
I was a question about maps or GIS. Anyway, honor. Thank you very much. I said I work with most of you for years, right? Most of you are friends personally. So we have really good, working relationship too. So this is what I tell people all the time. And we have a public university here. And the university has to work closely with the community. And it's not just the oral service. People talk about that all the time. I'm the one doing the work. From the first year I came to ANPI, I came to Prescott. And another reason is that I'm a citizen of Prescott, right? I'm the resident here. I cannot call Prescott as my hometown. You know, my hometown is far away, but I have 3 kids. They grew up here. And they went to all the schools where they grew up. The youngest one just graduated early. This is their home. So I have to be honest, it's not, but it's their home. I like Northern Maine. So I have passion, for this area. So I want to do with my capability in the community. And also, I'm from the university. This is a public university. I tell faculty there all the time, you work on a project, find a project, work with the community. Expertise, that's exactly what I'm doing. I so much like it. And of course, I like working with you guys. You guys are making me feel good living in Prescott. Okay.
Well, you should certainly put.
Yeah. Mike, we did a lot together, years ago. So
He's a hard guy to keep up with when you're working with a worker, man.
I'm over you. And I would say this to have you guys. In the beginning, you guys voted one the all restaurants. I said, what if Washington D.C. will do this? Like,
You've been born a part of this community, sir, and we really appreciate everything once again that you've done for us. And this isn't the end of the thing. We got a lot more to do. I hope you're going to continue to be. And thanks for coming in this evening. I think we surprised.
That's good.
It's wonderful.
this guy too, he also lied me.
Sorry. Item 9 on their new business is fire department update.
Yes, sure,
Chief-
Council.
Chief,
Did put together some brief information for you to take a look at of where we have grown as a fire department, the changes that have been made over the past few years. So we took a close look at 18, 19, and 20, and wanted to give you an update of where we are for 2021 in terms of call volume. And so we put that together. We did include, of course, we're not done with 2020 yet, but we did put November's call log in here. So for the people listening at home and watching, in 2018 for calls for EMS, we did 1,200. 2019, we increased 600 to 1,843, and so far for 2,291, almost 2,300 calls that we've done so far. So we did graph those out too, and we've also looked at how this is compared with expenses and revenues for the fire department too. And we've definitely seen the impact, the positive impact this has had on the service levels to the community, and also the reduction of taxpayer liabilities for operating this service too. So we've have the employees that are dedicated employees that are providing high level service that's actually less. So it's I'd like to thank the crews, the employees, for putting together a well to really enjoy and rely upon. So that's kind of my flow into this. I know it has changed a lot for the communities that we service, and maybe we could have a little bit more detail from the chief.
I quickly
quickly want to apologize, I had to hand you a new sheet. The first one we did, we had, our numbers were wrong. Back in May, when Mars Hill started their ambulance, we got onto their EMS run reporting system as administrator to help them learn the system and get them all set up. And we didn't realize at the time, so in May, when we started running our numbers to see where we're at, it was for administrators. And today I was working on another project and I noticed the numbers weren't coming out. And so Nate and I sat there and we went through the system, and then finally we realized it was doing Prescal call numbers and Mars Hill's number of the ambulance. So we took Mars Hill back off, and that's what you had today. So that 2221 is accurate up to the end of November. So we're gonna be pretty close to where I thought we'd be at 2,400 calls at the year's end, which is a pretty decent number for staffing size. So that's where we're at call-wise. One of the challenges we have all across our region is transfers, long-distance transfers. A lot of patients that need higher level of care need to go to Bangor, and right now the hospitals are struggling to find services to get those patients out. We're working hard on trying to figure out how we can do that. Carrie has helped put together a grant program. We're hoping to get some funding to develop some kind of either regional system or some help from each department to start getting these transfers out together. And we need to be, in my own opinion, we need to be up front. We need to be the leaders of this. And so we need to, so I quickly volunteered for us to be a part of this program because I think that it's going to be a revenue generator for us. And so I want to make sure that we do it. The problem becomes, how do we do it? And I have a few ideas, and I'm not going to bore you with them, but I think we have some answers that can help us increase our transports.
Daryl, can you explain just what has changed, I guess, with our neighbors? Like, I know that a lot of transfers were being run from Caribou a couple of years ago, and now there's a different service level, just so we can understand, like, where we're operating at today versus how things were a couple of years ago, as far as numbers of rigs and staffing.
Okay, well, when we first got in, I remember we partnered up with the hospital who put an ambulance in our station, and then we would provide a driver or an EMT, they provided a paramedic. We were still missing a great revenue stream that would help our taxpayers offset the cost of public service for the fire department. So we started our own with the council, and we started out with 3 ambulances. Then we ended up taking on 7 other communities, and so we just kept growing and growing and growing, and we pretty much are about as big as I think we're gonna get. Mars Hill now operates their own service, Mars Hill, Bridgewater, Lane, and then Fort Fairfield started their own service, taking care of Fort Fairfield. We have mutual aid agreements with them, Mars Hill, Ashland, Caribou. We all help each other out. We are the is more than the other services. We really want to help us. So we all help each other out. We are the, you saw it in the budget, was more than the other services. We to help us. ALS intercept service for Mars Hill and for Bridgewater and for Ashland. You saw it in the budget was advanced call. We'll meet them in. We provide a ALS intercept service for Mars Hill and for Bridgewater and for Ashland. So if they have a basic on it, it's an advanced call stream there, but we'll meet them in. And then we build that. Where I think we can do much better, in honesty, is our long distance transfers. If you look on the back page, we've turned over, and this is where I think we can do much better, in honesty, is our long distance transfers. If you look on the back page, we've turned over. Our problem is that, and this isn't even accurate because I got a bunch more on my desk I haven't put in yet, but we're gonna turn down 100 transfers this year, and right now we've done 9. Our problem is that our call volume is pretty heavy. And when people get off on the days off, the last thing they want to do is come back in and do a
What
transfer.
happened, or what happened in the
And I
surrounding
completely
communities
understand that.
from July
Well, I
on?
think
All of a sudden, we went from these levels to this.
Oh, well, okay, that's
That's
more of a, that's more of a nothing happened outside
From
services.
July
This is
on,
more of a
all of a
reporting
sudden, we
system
went
that we
from
had.
these
Before, we never
levels
really had
to
any way to
this.
capture.
Oh, well, okay, that's
That's
more of a, that's more of a nothing happened outside services more. This is more of a reporting system that we had. Before, we never really had any way to capture when a hospital called us to do a transfer, then have a transfer. So we rely on the employee to fill that out. Well, the truth is that they weren't getting filled out all the time. Transfers were getting turned down, but we never even knew there was
Well,
a transfer.
I'll put my question in simple terms. A couple years ago, there wasn't a need for us to do transfers because Caribou was doing a lot
yes,
of transfers,
yeah.
several hundred.
I get where you're going now.
And now, from what I understand, they're doing less transfers. So I just, from a regional standpoint, where are we at now compared to a couple years ago when the region as a whole was capable of doing 300-400 plus transfers per year?
Yeah.
Because now there's a different staffing level there as there is here as well.
Right, right, and I can't speak for Caribou, but they have definitely changed their policy of doing transfers like they were doing them, and my understanding is now they do not do transfers. Please don't quote me on this, this is what I'm saying, and we're gonna learn more about this as we go.
Replace
But
those two people, because we
It
need to stay with our
becomes the same
911
thing for
service.
Caribou as it is
We're not
for
getting
us.
people
In
coming
order
back.
for us to do a
Caribou's
transfer,
not getting the people.
and we take two people off shift,
It's
we
a
need to
fact of-
replace those two people, because we need to stay with our 911 service.
Much for us, because
We're not getting the people
been
coming
heavy
back.
into the transfers.
Caribou's not getting the people.
But Caribou.
It's a
yeah, I
fact
mean,
of,
It wasn't uncommon for them to do 2 or 3 Bangor
And I-
transfers in a day.
much for us, because
And
we've
just
been heavy into the transfers.
And also
But
becomes a
Caribou
safety issue. You
It
don't
did, I
want
mean,
drivers going out
it
on the
wasn't
road 3
uncommon
times
for them to do
Bangor.
2 or 3 Bangor
In the
transfers in a
morning,
day.
afternoon, late at
And
night.
that just
So this
wears
is the
on
future
them.
challenge you mentioned a few years, minutes
And it also
ago, is
becomes a
that,
safety
you know,
issue.
to
You
try
don't
to
want a driver
develop
going out on the road 3
an answer
times
or
to Bangor,
solution.
you know, one
maybe
in the
on a
morning, in the
regional
afternoon,
basis.
late at night.
We're
So
gonna
this
be
is the
piece of
future
that.
challenge you mentioned a few years
And,
ago.
try to,
So
in the
is
next,
it
you know,
to
quarter
try
to
to
develop, I
develop,
would assume, an answer, a solution.
Yeah.
that we
Maybe
have
on a
some
regional
sort of
basis,
or
we're gonna be
a
a piece of that thing.
Absolutely.
And try to, in the next quarter or something, I would assume.
These are
sooner
the transfers
rather
we
than
turned
later,
down,
that
so
we
those
have some sort
71 that
of-
we turned down are probably
or
the
a
same
working-
71 that Caribou turned down because they were unable
Yeah.
to do them, or AR Gould was unable to do them.
These are the
because
transfers
they're
we
already
turned
doing
down, and so
transfers.
those 71 that we
There's a
turned
pile of
down are probably the
transfers
same
out there.
71 that Caribou turned down because
We
they were
just gotta
unable
get
to do them,
ourselves in a
and
position
or
where we can
AR
staff
Gould was
the
unable to
ambulances
do
to
them
do
because they were already doing transfers. There's a
I
lot
want
of
to add some
transfers
clarity
out
to that, you know,
there.
that 71 people.
We just
are
gotta get
very
ourselves in a
sick
position
or
where we
hurt
can
people
staff the ambulances. to
that are
do it.
being left at a hospital,
I
and
wanna add
not,
some clarity
you know,
to
not
that.
getting to where they
That
need to go
71
as quickly as possible,
are
so.
very sick
I
or
don't
hurt
feel like,
people
you know,
that are being
we're the
left
cause
at
of
the
this, but I
hospital,
think that we need to quickly, and
come
not,
up with
you
a
know, not
solution.
getting to where they need to go as quickly as possible, so.
I know
I
one
don't
person
feel
that-
like, you know,
the personal
we're the cause of
relationship
this,
with
but
me,
I think that
needed
we
to
need
get
to
to the hospital
quickly,
desperately, and
there
their
must be a
parents had to
solution.
drive them there, and,
And, that's
not
I know one person that,
No,
is
and
a
I
personal
totally
relationship
agree,
with me that
and that's why I
needs
say
to
we
get to
need
the
be
hospital
upfront with this,
desperately,
because
their
I feel the
parents
same
had to
way you
drive
do.
them
These
there.
aren't,
And
these aren't people that
that's
may need to
not
go to the
always gonna work.
hospital.
No, and I totally agree with you, Mike, and that's why I say we need to be upfront with this, because I feel the same way you do. These aren't people that may need to go to the hospital.
And
People
honestly,
who are in critical
this point we're
condition,
failing.
and they need a higher,
and we all know it, and we're all
they're
trying
gonna
to
get
figure out
them
how
there,
to
and I
do
don't
this,
mean
but
just Prescott,
Carrie,
but I mean
like
the
I
EMS
said, put in
service
for a
in
grant,
Worcester
we're gonna have a
County.
working group, we're
And
gonna sit down and
honestly,
figure out how we
at
make
this
this
point,
happen.
we're failing.
I just want us to
And we
be
all know
one of
it,
the leaders
and we're
in this.
all trying to
I
figure
want
out how to
us
do it
in the
is,
backseat.
but
I want us
Carrie,
to be
like I
upfront.
said, put in for a grant, we're gonna have a working group, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna figure out how to make this happen.
Because, I mean.
I just want us to be
basically,
one of the leaders
kinda
in this. I don't want us sitting in the back seat. I want us to be up front. Maybe even driving if they let us.
Gerald, just to kind of highlight transfer, because, I mean, the bulk of that, basically, we kind of not, had a really bad
No,
night
well,
on
yes, the bulk of them is, but we also
service
get calls
levels.
from, Fort Kent.
And these
and-
transfers,
yeah.
the
we
bulk
get
of
a few
them
out
are
of
coming
here?
out of Caribou, are they
Well,
not?
right, but I guess, but the thing is.
No, well, yes, the bulk of them
My
is, but we also
understanding
get
is
called
the
from,
people that are
Fort
in
Kent,
Presque Isle,
and
they're at the
Hilton.
Presque Isle Hospital,
and we get a
trying
few
to
out
get
of here.
transferred somewhere.
Well, right, but I guess, but the thing is, we,
By the most part,
To my
getting
understanding
there
is
when they need to
the
get there,
people
the
that
people
are
that are in
in
Presque Isle, they're at the
with the
Presque Isle
services that are
Hospital,
serving
trying to get
Northern
transferred
Maine,
somewhere,
Caribou,
are
not
not,
holding up their
by
end
the
of the
most
deal,
part,
and
they're
they're
getting
transferring
there when they
people.
need
So
to get there.
it's not
The
the Presque
problems
Isle
coming
taxpayer
in
that's paying
with
for
the
the
services that are
that
serving
is failing
Northern
Presque Isle
Maine and
taxpayer.
Caribou
This
are
is
not holding up
services
their
that
end
are
of the
failing
deal, and they're
around
not
us,
transferring those people.
that we are
So
being
it's
asked
not
to pick up the
the
slack.
Presque Isle
and we just
taxpayer that's
don't
paying
have
for the
enough
service
ability
that
to
is
service
failing
all
the
of
Presque
those
Isle
transfers. Is that
taxpayer.
correct?
That would
This
be
is
the-
services that are failing
Yes, but-
around us,
I just want
that we
people
are
to know
being
that
asked to
we
pick
have
up
a very
the slack,
successful
and we
service.
just
We
don't
are
have
serving
enough
our
ability
citizens
to
in
service all of those transfers. Is
And
that
they're
correct?
not laying in the hospital waiting for.
No, no.
Because I just want people to know that we have a very successful service, and we are serving our citizens in
We have a great response time.
our ability, and they are
That's
not
the
laying in the
issue.
hospital
It's
waiting
the
for.
issue
a
is
transfer.
just getting
our-
patients
and
to the
our-
hospitals who
to
need
elaborate,
higher
our
level care
E911
in a
system
timely manner.
is
And
Yeah.
we have a
That's
great
what we're
response
gonna
time,
try to do.
that's not the issue. It's,
So,
the issue
um,
is getting patients out of
And
hospitals who
lastly,
need
I
higher
did
level
get a call,
care
I think
in
this
a
is
timely
really kind of
manner.
interesting, and I think
And-
it speaks volumes for me about
That's what we're gonna try
how
to
our
figure out.
service is looked at from.
So,
Last I got a call
and
from
lastly, I
somebody
did
who
get a
was head
call,
of
I think this is
EMS,
really kinda interesting, I
asking
think
if
it
we would
speaks
head up
volumes for me
the
about
vaccination process
how our
for
service
Worcester
is
County
looked
Fire,
at from
Police, and
Maine
EMS.
EMS.
So
In
I thought
Augusta,
that
I
was
got a call from Sam
pretty big
Hurley,
deal
who is
for
the
them
head
to
of
call
Maine
and
EMS,
put their faith in us
asking if
to
we would head
organize
up
that.
the vaccination
administer that
process for
program.
Aroostook
So I
County
did
Fire,
accept
Police,
that.
and EMS.
We do get.
So I thought that was a
I
pretty
think it's a
big deal for them to
$45
call and put their faith in us to organize that
schedule
and administer that
and
program.
administer
And so
and
I did
document.
accept
There's
that.
gonna be a lot of work.
We do get,
Be busy
I
with
think it's a
it, but I think
$45 for every
I personally
vaccination
think
we
it's
give.
kind of a
But we'll
pat on
have
the
to
back for
schedule
EMS when they-
and administer and document. There's gonna be a lot of work. Nate and I will be busy with it, but I think it's,
Thanks,
I
thank
personally
you,
think it's
Chief, I
kind of a
appreciate the update
back in
and,
the EMS when we
continued good success, and I know, you know that this council has, yours, we support you.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate the update and continued good success.
I do
And
appreciate
I know,
all that
you
the
know
council
that
has
this
done. They've
council
done
has,
quite a bit of work. And I do
yours,
that our
we support you in
services
your efforts and ongoing.
succeeded because we've had
the
your
EMS
support.
services. Vice versa.
I do appreciate all that the council's done. They've been.
Thank you. I'm going home from here.
Dr. Lang.
He's great.
Lang John. Item 10 is to transfer funds from Presque Isle Development Fund Reserve account. So this is a new item to consider for this evening, so. You wanna start, Mr. City Manager?
Sure, council, this is basically with what was just discussed by the Economic Development Director. We would be creating these new programs within the city of Presque Isle, so using existing money that's in those programs to move them into these two different accounts. So we would transfer $100,000 from the Presque Isle Development Fund Reserve account into the WARM program. WARM is an acronym, Winterization and Rental Modernization Program. And also transfer $50,000 from the restricted reserve account into the matching funds to the Presque Isle microfinancing program. So 2 new programs that we would need to have funding for. So this is the funding for the new programs we talked about during the public hearing.
All right, is there any comments or any other questions? This has been laid out and has been discussed by a lot of different committees and stuff, so and I assume that they are approving. Galen, anything you wanna add at this point?
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to bring to your attention is,
I assume that they are approving. Galen, anything you wanna add at this point?
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to bring to your attention is the microfinancing loan program, that restricted reserve account, number 128 grants matching. That fund is also where we had a hire program years ago where we would give up to $5,000 to first-time home buyers in Presque Isle. We put a secondary mortgage, which is sort of the same mechanism we're talking about for the facade. But essentially, if they had 10 years, and if they sold in that 10-year period, they had to return the money. That's what happened in this case. We had actually 25% have been returned back to the city, and it was put in a So that's where we're taking a portion of that money. That's the justification as well. We had this money that was earmarked.
I think it's great.
Ask for a motion?
Transfer of $100,000 from the PIFD reserve account for the creation of winterization and rental modernization warm program, and also the transfer of $50,000 from the restricted reserve account number 128 grants matching funds to fund the Presque Isle microfinancing program.
I'll just make a small correction, it should be the Presque Isle Development Fund, PIDF, instead of the fire.
It's not the fire department, it's the development fund. Yep. Yep, thank you. It's been moved by Jake and seconded by Jeff. All, and Mike, well noted. Any other questions? Comments? No? We'll ask for a vote. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? 6-0. Thank you very much. Another tool in the toolbox. Excellent. Item 11 under new business is ordinances due to sunset provisions. And I'll ask Martin to talk about this again.
Council, what we have is next month, at the beginning of the year, we'll be reviewing these ordinances, and there's a total of 19 of them. And I will be, I think those were emailed already. If not, we will be emailing those. I didn't want to, obviously, there's a few hundred pages worth of ordinances here to take a look at. I've sent these to the department heads, and they've already been looking at these, and there's some small minor adjustments to be made in some of these, like with the traffic regulations one. So it's time to just take a look at these, and if there's any changes you want to see, maybe we can have a working group with specific ones to take a look at and see what we want to do in the future. So quite a big list. This is one of these ordinances every 4 years. 19 of these go off into the sunset. So these will require reapproval at the January meeting to have these reapproved.
So let's get the emails out and walk down through these things, and if people have questions or comments, we can convene a working group, because I think our budget working group is about finished up, so we can do another one and get in before January 6th, so.
Super.
So there's no action really this evening, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Item 12 is to schedule a public hearing for dangerous. So again, Martin asked us to walk through this.
This is just for one building. In the past, we've seen multiple ones at a time. This one, we've included some pictures, but all we're asking council for at this time is not to declare anything a public, a dangerous building, but just to schedule a public hearing. So this is to schedule one for January 6th, to hear from the code enforcement officer about this particular building at 9 Allen Street.
Isn't this one we already dealt with?
Correct, we have dealt with this before. What this individual argued with the courts is that this was discussed during for this person to come before us.
Where are they right now?
They not present, so this would be scheduling a public hearing for them for that ability to give them official notice when giving this person one more opportunity. So this would be essentially the third time discussing this one item. What the courts claimed is that this individual didn't know how to participate during the COVID. We did have in-person meetings during this time, so simply showing up in person would have been appropriate, but do this another time that way it rules out any doubt that this person had the opportunity to discuss this with council. There has been legal representation from this, so this was their argument from their legal counsel, and the court did agree that to give them one more opportunity to review. So this is something that the council has reviewed and give what our attorney says was ample time, but the court said let's give this opportunity one more time for them to be heard publicly.
Is there any other comments? Would I entertain a motion for a do-over?
Mr. Chair, I would move to schedule a public hearing on January 6, 2021. A public hearing on, for Dane Buildings.
And moved by Randy,
Second.
seconded by Jake. All those in public hearing notice, all those opposed? 6-0. Thank you. Again. Are we, as a side comment, I would really like to see some sort of, registered letter to the property owners. Registered return receipt requested noticing the meeting. Okay,
Definitely.
enough. Next item is, extra item on our agenda tonight, and that's item 13, that's a tax acquired property. I think we've got some additional information on that.
Yes, we do, council. This is from the finance director, Brad Turner. I'll give you time to take a look at this document. The first page just explains our last policy to work with taxpayers for anyone that is delinquent in their property tax. Currently, we have gone through to give them additional time, additional notices. We go in above and beyond to try to work with these individuals. So we do have a list of 5 that are on the second page that are still at this point delinquent. We obviously want to give these property taxpayers the opportunity to pay these taxes and potentially work out some sort of payback agreement. So out of all the ones that we've had, there's currently these 5. Some of them are obviously smaller than the others, but we want to try to work with these, give these taxpayers additional time to work through and try to pay off these taxes. Unfortunately, some of them have not reached back with any reason why they haven't paid the taxes. Our notices have gone without a response, unfortunately. So some of it is, unfortunately, the property owners are responsive. So we're reaching out to the owners and whatnot to try to resolve this issue.
So we're racing against the 12/31/2020, right? I mean, we're going up against the end of the calendar year, and we're trying to get something resolved before that date, right?
Right, we're trying to work with them, work with these owners, try to get them so the taxes are paid. That's what our end goal is to get the property taxes paid, or some other method to resolve their tax issue, some other tax program that's out there, not through the city, but some other element to help resolve these. So again, we're trying to go above and beyond to work with these. There's 5 for this year that haven't paid their past due taxes. We're just trying to give them one last opportunity like we have in the past.
So the Jackson property on Chapman Street, wasn't that tore down?
Yep, correct.
And I believe that individual wanted it to go to the city?
Yes, and so this would be, this is the formal process again, doing the last notification. So we're feeling that we're going in above and beyond this process.
And then the crossroad, is that out by the industrial council, or is that somewhere else? I tried looking at it in the map and I couldn't find 62 Crossroad.
No, that's 7 acres. That's not out. That's not the crossroad out by there. It's well, without a map, I can't. Yeah, I wish I could pull up. I wish I had the technology to pull it up to show you where it is, but I don't have that. Yeah, but I can definitely bring that to you before next meeting.
That's Cross Street you're talking about on the industrial park. This is Crossroad.
Yeah, well, I couldn't find Crossroad on a map or Google, but
what's the decision of the city council? Would you like to make a motion? Well, I think what's in front of us is to resolve that the city council authorizes the city treasurer to contact prior owners of the properties acquired at the November 24th automatic foreclosure of the 2018 tax lien. For the policy for tax acquired property to make acceptable arrangements for repurchasing the property from the city by paying all taxes, costs, administrative fees, and interest due to the city if they wish to regain title of the former property. Second. And I would again list the 5 properties at 36 Elm Street, 22 Allen Street, 26 Brayton Street, 62 Cross Road, and 69 Chapman Street. 69 Chapman Road, all of which are within the city of Prescott. It's been moved by Kevin, seconded by Mike. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? Vote. Public record. Thank you very much. The last item of business in our new business section this evening is our Recon Parks assessment cost. Again, start with the city manager, and he can explain this one.
Sure, council, this is to do an assessment, to pay for the assessment, yellow paper assessments called for the 2 properties that were encumbered with soil and conservation funds. So the indoor pool and the outdoor pool, we had to do an assessment to get an estimate of what those properties were worth. We have since done that, so we have the bill for that first step of the process for around $6,500, and we estimate it to be no more than $20,000. So that was approved at a previous meeting. What we're looking for at this part is to just which account exactly to take those funds out of, and we're asking the council to take those funds out of contingency. The account's 2013. So long story short, what we're trying to do is resolve the encumbrances with the indoor and outdoor properties and looking to replace those for other recreational opportunities within the city. So this is the first step, is establishing what the values of those properties are. I think this will be a big, this should be part of our work plan for 2021, that we should try to find some other recreational opportunities to resolve those indoor and outdoor pool properties.
So the total of the 2 is how much?
Right now, we estimate to be around 20,000. We got the bill for the first part of this, and it was $6,500. We imagined that the total cost would be 20,000, so that's what we're asking, the full 20.
20,000 total.
Correct.
Not to exceed 20,000.
Not to exceed 20.
I don't have anything, so I don't know what the motion is, so.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
none of us have any papers. Okay, I move to accept the allocation of $20,000 to be spent on the yellow paper assessment of properties expense from the contingent expense account E020-20-13.
Been moved by Craig and seconded by Jake. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? 6-0. Thank you very much. The next item of business is our 2021 budget workshop. Hopefully we're gonna get to the goal line, so.
We are, so council, just to reiterate, at the last meeting, I think as a council, we talked about where we wanted to be, and I think it was unanimous that we wanted to have a municipal budget that was less than last year, looking forward to a possible reduction in the mill rate. So that's what this budget represents, is a reduction in the municipal side. It's not, I'd like to say it was a gigantic reduction, it's something earth-shattering, but it is a reduction. We're looking at about a $7,000 reduction in what we estimate for the mill rate to be, or a 5.05% reduction in that. So at this stage, we know that the municipal side would be reduced from in 2021 what it currently is in 2020. What we are estimating for mill rate also includes what the school funding would be and also what the county funding will be. But at the municipal side, we're 50% of the cost that goes out with a tax bill. We just don't know what those other 2 will be at this stage in the game. So that mill rate won't be set till 6-7 months from now, but what we're estimating is a reduction in that mill rate, if everything stays the same.
So So I think the working document that's in front of us, I'm not dominating the discussion, I'm just starting one, is that this process basically starts in late July with staff, and they put their best foot forward in what they are looking for to try to address each department's needs. Meet with city manager, they hashed out that, and we start budget workshops. I know that we spent almost 38 hours this year in budget workshops, and the previous council meeting also was discussed, and then discussed again this evening. This is not a lightly taken effort. This is many hours amongst actually almost 50 individuals trying to hash this budget out, and for most of the people, they're very experienced in this operation, a lot more experience than I have, being only here 4 years. They've got this down to a science now, and I think it's been streamlined, and I think that we've spent 75 hours before on this, and now we're spending almost half the time, but we're getting it resolved much more efficiently. And you know, the goal was to try to be flat on the municipal side, and I'd like to congratulate everybody that worked all those hours on that to try to make this happen. It's not an easy thing to do. In view of rising insurance costs, rising work comp costs, payroll costs going up, cost of living increases being factored in, and many other factors that are in this budget. If you look at some of the graphs that's been prepared by our finance director, Brad Turner, the largest percentage is wages and benefits. And you can see how that has been impacted from 2016 to 2021. And to have a flat budget in face of all that, a tremendous job, I think. So thank you, and thank you on behalf of the council for all of your adjustments that you've made, the very thoughtful considerations. Some stuff been added, some stuff's been questioned and ultimately deleted or postponed. So good job. Any other comments? Again, I've gone on too long. So, Randy, any comments? Craig?
No, just congratulations to everyone who worked on it. I think they did a great job to bring it to us, and I'm just very pleased.
Mike?
Yeah, I think it just shows the success of some of the regionalization efforts. You know, tri-community landfill merger, running our own ambulance, like, these are things that have allowed us to either maintain or increase services without increasing costs, so it's working.
You know, you mentioned the revenue side, and I'll chip in that the industrial councils pulled their weight, and you know, we've got increased revenues over there, and the group does a amazing job every year, and it's growing in a positive direction, and while growing the employment in the area. So hats off to those guys for that effort. Jake, awesome. Jeff?
Looks good. Good job, guys.
What are we doing?
So there is a formal motion that's on the last page of, that we have the overview, I think it's the summary, and there's a resolve, I think.
I think you just have the copy.
I don't see it.
Oh, sorry, I'll pass it down again, she'll make copies of that one too.
Go ahead, Randy, you can read it.
You're right. He wears glasses.
I would move to accept the 2021 city budget appropriations by department as presented. Total appropriations of $14,239,375 less total revenue of $6,927,873 for a net spending budget of $7,311,502 from the general fund. And for the airport fund, total expenses of $2,927,399 less total revenue of $2,969,169 for a net appropriation from the general fund of minus $41,770.
Thank you.
Second.
Been moved by Randy and seconded by Craig to adopt the budget as said. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the budget 2021, all those opposed? 6-0, thank you very much. And again, thank you to the staff and everybody for all the work you've done on this, thank you. Next item of business is our manager's report. So, Martin, what do you got?
So council, we do have some holiday things that are planned, especially with the chamber for the light, Central Route 6, the regional thing. We won't be doing the light parade as was discussed by the executive director, but we are hoping for that event. So be on the lookout. I believe the viewing is going to be starting on the 14th. So right around the corner. For people who want to participate, you need to send in your entrance by the 12th.
Is there a list of properties on like the city Facebook or website? Or?
There will be, I believe that's going to come out on the 14th, December 14th.
So decorate your property, list
Yes,
it, and then
list
and then we'll tell people where to go and see the lights.
That's correct. There will
Okay.
be a map that will be pushed
gotcha.
on Facebook, and some decorations will be around, and it's all through Central Route 6 too, so a unique opportunity.
Sounds good.
All right, sir, thank you. For announcements this evening, this is our final council meeting for 2020, and our first council meeting for 2021 will be held here in council chambers, hopefully. Keep your fingers crossed, on Wednesday, January 6th at 6 p.m. And the public is invited to attend, up to 50 people in the room, again, and wear face masks, thank you. Seeing no other announcements this evening, I'd like to wish everybody a happy holiday season and a safe holiday season. Wear your masks out in public as we are doing here this evening. And thank you, everybody, for coming, and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
All those in favor of adjourning? All those opposed? Thank you again, everybody.